One. Welcome to your best bets. Super Bowl week, Super Bowl 58 is upon us. The Kansas City Chiefs are back yet again in the Super Bowl. This year, against the San Francisco 49ers, a rematch of the 2020 Super Bowl. A lot of crazy shit happened after that Super Bowl. Let's hope that we don't have the same aftermath of this one. Can't wait to talk about it. We do this show annually now. I guess it's the third year we've done it. Uh, my old friend, Richard Strozanowski, is here to talk about Super Bowl prop bets. Rich, how are you? How's life treating you?
It's good, Phil. It's good. Really, really good to see you and talk to you. I always enjoy doing this prop bet podcast. It's always a lot of fun. We get to catch up like we never do.
I know, right? Right. I feel like we see
Me too
each
more.
other once or twice a year. It's usually on these podcasts.
Yeah.
But before we get into discussion about the Super Bowl and what we like and don't like, what's the word down in Houston area about the Texans? Is there just immense excitement about what's going on there?
Oh yeah. Two picks that hit like gold. It's just incredible. CJ and Will Anderson Jr. just destroying people, which is going to be really good for the years to come.
Yeah.
Defensive players certainly have a little more longevity than offensive players, but they I think those two picks were incredible, and we're looking good and start picking some people up to get some better offensive line for sure. you know. But we're all I think all Houston's excited about what's going on with the Texans for sure.
I mean, you were in like the Deshaun Watson hangover, and it's been a pretty quick recovery overall. I mean, you had a year between, and now it's like you're one of the most kind of the biggest upside teams, at least going into next year with making the playoffs this year and kind of overachieving this year. But can't wait to see what they do. Yeah, I think
Yeah, I'm stoked.
yeah. So Super Bowl 58. You know, I should know better than what I did last week. Yeah, last week with the championship games, and you would think I would learn from history. History normally tells you what how these games normally go, and I took the Ravens last week, and within two drives, I knew I was in trouble because Patrick Mahomes. That's really it. And going back to like the days of Brady and the Patriots, I mean, it becomes almost irrelevant the makeup of the team, and it's usually just take the best quarterback in these playoff games, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, but in this case, obviously, I think Brock Purdy's still a top quarterback. I think he's going to be as time goes, and he obviously made it here. I can't say it's only Christian McCaffrey, but that's definitely someone I want to look at as my bets is Christian McCaffrey because I've won all year on him. I mean, it's just the numbers were crazy. But yeah, the quarterbacks certainly need to be the valuable winner, the person that's going to win, the ones that win MVPs, Super Bowl MVPs, are the people that are most important on the field for sure.
The and we'll get to our game pick and the side we're picking at the very end here to kind of just to build some suspense throughout this thing. But um, kind of where I was getting at was you know I almost feel going into this week, I feel similar to how I was going in with the Chiefs Ravens, where I feel like I know who the better team is, but it also I feel like I know who the better quarterback still is, and history tells me to side with that. Now we'll see where I land here by the end of this podcast and what side. But you know, kind of going through some of the research I was doing with these props, Rich, and I'm really anxious to hear some where you landed on some of these. Um, I I kind of kept I really didn't circle back to a lot of quarterback ones. I have a couple that I like, but a lot of my focus fell on the two running backs. And the numbers kind of led me to really liking both running games and running backs in this game. Um, let's start with McCaffrey. You mentioned him. He's likely not going to win the MVP, but he's likely Offensive Player of the Year. I want to say he's had a bit of a quiet playoff so far. The first two games of the Niners, both comeback type victories against the Packers and then last week against the Lions. Is there anything you're targeting with Christian McCaffrey this
Yeah, I think the biggest one I want to touch on is, I mean, I like anytime scorer at any time. So
week? Hmm.
the Christian McCaffrey anytime touchdown or even the first touchdown is certainly enticing to me. Or even Mark putting that with the parlay really was where I was leaning towards on my research was using the ones that I felt the most comfortable with and statistically, and then using those in parlays with one maybe not like more of a long shot to hopefully get the number where I want it to at least put decent money to get decent money out. But Christian McCaffrey is definitely difficult to bet these prop bets on because they're all just regular even odds or negative payout odds. So just I think the touchdown, in time touchdown was where I was at the most.
Minus 220 on DraftKings for anytime touchdown. There were a couple games this year where it was absolutely ludicrous odds. I think I remember seeing one at minus 350 to him for
Mm,
him to score it all, and you kind of wonder why you even bother doing it.
yeah.
But yeah, this is a little bit more, I guess, palatable where you could handle doing it. But yeah, I would think if you threw it in like a same game parlay with like the Niners, if you like the Niners to win and McCaffrey to score, that makes some sense. Even first touchdown scores plus 350. It's still super, super short.
Yeah. It's just hard to do. Oh, come on.
I do like McCaffrey. I have one here selected that I really like his longest rush over 17 and a half yards. I do like that. I think I saw statistically in the regular season he hit that number in 11 of 17 games. Um, we saw him have a long one against the Packers that was well over 17 and a half yards. And I'm not sure if he hit that number against the Lions, but I just feel like we're kind of due for a McCaffrey monster game, whether that's 120 total yards, a couple touchdowns, what have you. But I really like him at least breaking one for an 18-yard rush. Um,
Yeah, and that's when I was doing my research. I was finding that how do I think this game is going to occur? And one of the biggest ones is I think it's going to be a lot of points. I don't think it's going to. I think
mhm.
they have great defenses, both of them, but I think their offenses are just so prolific, both of them. Big name after big name that can open up a game any point.
Yeah, and the Niners have really not been impressive defensively this at least in the postseason. The two games that they played, they've been fortunate to win, and I'm kind of with you. I see a lot of points in this game, um, which means it'll totally be a 10-7 defensive battle or
Yeah,
something. On the other side, I mentioned the other running back. I really like Isaiah Pacheco in this game a lot. I have three bets circled for him. Um, I guess, well, one's an over. I do have an under for him, but um, over 67 and a half rushing yards. That's the number that I found that's the best number out there. That's on FanDuel right now. I like him quite a bit for this number. And anyone that watched the Chiefs at any point during the regular season, this really became a team that focused on running the football, and Mahomes was a little bit secondary, especially in a lot of the middle of the season where they were still trying to find their way as an offense. And they really relied on Pacheco. He runs so damn angry and just so hard. And I thought the Lions kind of dominated the 49ers line of scrimmage, at least for three quarters, where they ran the ball really pretty proficiently against them. So Pacheco, there's really not another guy that's going to take a lot of carries away from him. You might see Edwards Hilaire in there for like a play or two, but I see Pacheco getting over 15 carries in this game, and I like him quite a bit for that.
yeah. So I was looking also like who do I not like if there's six different offensive players that we could pinned down. Only three of them are going to have huge, things that we think that they're going to
Right.
hit these numbers. So I think Debo is not having that great of a game. And I like his yardage at 57.5, which he in 9 of the 16 games, he was under 57.5. So just over 50%, which I think most of the stats are going to fall that way anyway when it comes to these big guys. So the pay, it's 105, it's plus 105, but it was a good one that I was putting with some single game parlays that really jumped the number up to like 300, 350 with him and, just another prop bet.
So that's under receiving yards you like for Deep.
I do.
Yeah. And he's
Because
definitely
maybe he'll just
been
get more rushing yards,
well,
he's
yeah,
going to
and
be used.
you never really know how to use them or how they're going to use them. Um, and he's been banged up too, of course. Had that injury against the Packers. Played last week though. Um, I want to finish my Pacheco chain of bets. I also like him under 9.5 yards for the longest reception. Um, he might get 2 or 3 catches a game, but they're never really for much other than little swings out of the backfield, not even screens. So I like him there. My This is a clear long shot. It's one of my favorite bets to talk about is MVP. Um, plus 2,800 for Pacheco to win MVP. Now, I'm not totally naive. I think if the Chiefs win, it's a very, very, very high likelihood that Pat Mahomes is going to be MVP. So I get that. I do think there's a world where if the Chiefs win, it's Pacheco having a monster game and him somehow taking that MVP away from Mahomes and winning it. But I know it's not likely. But if you're into long shots, if you have a free bet out there, I think it's pretty worthwhile. So I'm in on Pacheco this game quite a bit. Um,
Do you know when the last running back MVP, Super Bowl MVP was?
hmm, gosh, this is good trivia. I can't. I don't know off the top of my head.
Terrell Davis,
Has it been that long?
1997. Yeah, we got wide receiver, linebacker,
God,
wide receiver, defensive end. Oh, I'm sorry, Mark. No, let's move further down.
that's
Okay, yeah,
insane. That's insane.
crazy.
I mean, you would think if there's ever a year where running back would win it, it would be McCaffrey, who's had arguably an MVP type season,
Oh yeah,
or Pacheco, who's been the main offensive cog most of the year for this team. But again, I know if the Chiefs win, it's probably what an 80% chance that this goes to Mahomes. I mean, if he has a game like he did against the Ravens, where he just completely controls the tempo, um, just controls the rhythm of the game, makes no mistakes, it would be hard not to get. What else you like that's out there? Anything with Mahomes or Purdy?
no, not really. Like I
No.
said, I'm definitely on the skill players myself. I did like how. Okay, so when I went to um, Super Bowl specials, and there was a winning margin, and it is between 1 and 6 points. Okay, and either team, Kansas City is giving 235, and then San Francisco was giving no the other way. Kansas City was 300, San Francisco was 235. Now, if the spread is 2 points for San Francisco, only at a negative 110 spread, then why would that made me think, okay, well, if we think it's going to be only a 2 point game, then wouldn't the bet would be a lot better to pick the winning margin and get a bigger payout? And that was another tool I was using for the single game parlays is that I think it's going to be a close game. So I'm going to choose that winning margin one over the spread, which I don't understand. Maybe you can shed some light on it, but the only thing would be is if it went by 10, you'd still win your spread bet and versus losing that bet.
Yeah, I don't know, completely the rationale behind it, but I can see the reasoning why you'd go that way. Um, so you think this is going to be a pretty close game
I think so.
within a touchdown,
Yes, within
either way?
touchdown. Yeah.
that leads into one that I like, which is I think I did this one last year for the Eagles Chiefs game, and I think it did hit. Either team wins by 7 or less, plus 100. That is
Yeah.
that is on Bet MGM. Um, that way, you don't really have to pick a side. You just have to pick a close game, and you know, I just think these teams are so closely matched as far as at least where if I think the Niners are going to win, but I don't think Mahomes gets blown out, and you go that way, or I think Mahomes wins, but the Niners are too good of a team to get blown out. I think both rationales fit that bet at least.
Yeah, yeah, close game. That's what I'm going at. So I'm writing that one down for sure. That was on MGM. You didn't find it on DraftKings?
That's on BetMGM, but yeah, I
Okay.
didn't get through all the books.
Yeah.
Got a life to live over here, Rich. I do, talking about the quarterbacks, I do have two for Brock Purdy. I don't have any for Mahomes, but I like Brock Purdy over 12 and a half rushing yards. That's minus 110 on FanDuel. As we saw in the NFC Championship, he has the ability to make some things happen with his leg. He had a couple scrambles in that game, I think that were over 15, 20 yards. I don't see him rushing for 40, 50 yards, but I see somewhere around 20. And so I do like the over 12 and a half rushing yards for him. And then the other thing that I like, and it's not a great thing for Purdy, is I like him to throw a pick. Interception over a half an interception is minus 130 on DraftKings. You've seen some spots here and there in the playoffs where his decision making has been not totally tidy compared to what it was in the regular season. Made some more mistakes, with some more errant throws. The Chiefs do have this is probably the best defense they've had since Mahomes became quarterback. So I respect the defense, but yeah, I think there's one that Purdy's going to give. Maybe
Me,
Darius, someone like Snead or one of those guys on the Chiefs. They're really sound defensively, and they get a great defensive coordinator as well, Spagnuolo, who's been around a long time. Yeah, I like that one as well. What else?
yeah, I mean, I like. Will there be a quarterback sneak for a first down or touchdown? Yes, plus 330. I know Kansas City. I did some research on Kansas City. I mean, they don't, which because I guess Holmes hurt his knee back in 2019 on a QB
Oh
sneak
yeah.
play. But the same article said that he hasn't not done it successfully. He's never been stopped. So, he just continues to get the first down or the touchdown. And maybe the Super Bowl, and the same article said that if we make it to the Super Bowl, maybe I just have to call my own number. And I think Mahomes has that ability to go to the line and say, I'm just going to sneak this real quick and sneak it.
So
And
what's that bet again?
it's will there be a quarterback sneak for a first down or touchdown? Yes, plus 330.
Hmm. I didn't really think about it until you mentioned it about when I watch Chiefs games, I don't normally see him sneak it compared to like the Eagles where it's
Yeah.
every drive there's a tush push every drive.
It'd be minus 1,000 at that point.
Right,
Yeah.
right. I kind of like that. I kind of like that one though, and and that's a touchdown as well. You could score a touchdown
Yeah.
on that.
First down, touchdown. Yep.
Yeah, yeah, I like that. Okay, what else?
All right. So I did move on to, on DraftKings, there was these Taylor Swift ones, and for Swiftie fans, so I guess it was on her platinum albums. But one of them was the Rasheed Rice to catch exactly 4 passes. And he's been putting it on
Mhm.
last game, but 4 games in the AFC in the divisional, and then 8 again in the wild card. But he has put up 4 exactly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times in the season. To
Okay.
me, that sounds like a high number for the same exact number of receptions you should have. And I'm also a person that maybe bet off of line, not lines,
It's
patterns.
yeah, yeah.
The same way as you're betting on the golf, how better they do at the
Hmm.
history of the game. Right now, last game was 8. Game before that was 4. Game before that was 8. So this one's going to be 4. 8-4-8-4. 8-4. 8-4. 8-4. 8-4. 8-4. 8-4. 8-4. 8-4. 8-4. 8-4. 8-4. 8-4. 8-4. 8-4. 8-4. 8-4. 8-4. 8-4. 8-4. 8-4. 8-4. 8-4. 8-4. 8-4. 8-4. 8-4. 8-4. 8-4. 8-4. 8-4. 8-4. 8-4. 8-4. 8-4. 8-4. 8-4. 8-4. 8-4. 8-4. 8-4. 8-4. 8-4. 8-4. 8-4. 8-4. 8-4. 8-4. 8-4. 8-4. 8-4. 8-4. 8-4. 8-4. 8-4. 8-4. 8-4. 8-4. 8-4. 8-4. 8-4. 8-4. 8-4. 8-4. 8-4. 8-4. 8-4. 8-4. 8-4. 8-4. 8-4. 8-4. 8-4. 8
Okay, Rasheed Rice for 4 receptions, and that is what number?
plus 700.
Oh, 700. Tasty. Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
and so that brings me to something I wanted to bring up was that I have a problem with, picking these bets that have a wild thing, but it makes the number go up, and then I put $50 on it, and then I end up losing it. So I want to try a different thing where I put $5 on a $700 bet and win $35, and just
Hmm.
nickel and dime my way to $100 in winnings. I'm gonna try it.
Okay. I like that. I like that.
Pick like 10 of them,
Yeah. Okay.
and then have $100 bet. Like coin toss is
I
plus
was gonna
100 plus 100.
I was gonna
So
ask if you were getting in on this coin toss.
I like that. Put, 20 bucks on tails never fails.
You would think tails never fails for
Yeah.
sure, for sure. Um, all right, I have down the next one on my list. I have a successful 2 point conversion by either team at plus 265. I think in and I don't have any numbers on this one from past Super Bowls or even this season, but it just feels like teams are there's not necessarily a certain pattern when they go for two, like the old days where got to check the chart. Do you go for two on the chart or no? And it's not like that anymore. Especially if teams are behind by 2 touchdowns, you see it all the time where they go for two. If they score to make it an 8 point game, then they go for two. I Now, of course, this is a successful 2 pointer. The other half of this is I like both of these offensive minds here with Reed and Shanahan. I think they're the two or the three best offensive gurus in the league. So that's the other half is I like them designing my short yardage 2 pointer to actually succeed. So I like plus 265 on that.
Yep. That is definitely good. I like that one too.
Next, a lot of focus on our boy Travis Kelsey. Not the best regular season for him. At times he looked old. He looked, um, I don't know if disinterested is the right word, but focus maybe elsewhere. But maybe they've just been saving him for the playoffs because he's looked really, really good the last two playoff games. I think it continues in the Super Bowl. I like him over 6.5 receptions. Not a great number, minus 144. But again, if you're building the same game parlay, I think in just these type of games, these type of moments, Mahomes still goes back to Kelsey, still the go-to guy. And there's just not a lot of guys he trusts other than Kelsey, Rice, and probably Pacheco on this offense. He's been burned by too many guys this season with key drops. So Kelsey to catch 7 balls or more at minus 144, I like that.
So yeah, when I went the other way, I think
Oh, okay.
that I think Kelsey becomes a decoy to them because of all the attention he's getting, and that he's done so well in the playoffs. I think that they're going to lean on Pacheco more and Rasheed Rice more than they do him. And
Okay.
would you say 6.5?
6.5.
What's the under? What's the under on that? Let's see.
It's got to be plus pretty decent.
Yeah, it's going to be up there. I think it's not loading quick enough.
So you
Um,
like the other side on that.
I do like the other fact that where he's not going to have as huge of a game as he's had in the last 3 games, 2 touchdowns in the last 2 games, 3 touchdowns. Sorry,
Okay. All right.
last 2 games.
All right. Fair
My
enough.
pick.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah,
Okay.
but I did like one bet on that though. It
Yeah.
was, is he going to propose to? I couldn't find it anywhere, but I saw it online. It was like,
I
I
did
think
see
plus
this.
900 or something as a yes. But again, that's the moment that he's gonna have, and he's gonna get on a knee and propose to
The world would lose its damn mind if that
her.
happened. I mean, I would love to see it just because people would just again, people can't handle this too much attention on Taylor, but I
I
think it would be
know.
unbelievable.
Yeah.
Let's go. Do it.
Yeah.
Do it.
Do it. Don't be a baby.
All right. This one I feel like is a lock, Rich. I feel like it's a lock. I don't say that often, but Again, not a great number. You'd have to put up $175 just to win 100. It's at minus 175. Last play of the game, a QB kneel. I think it's a
I
lock.
saw that one too.
I mean, it's just it's unlikely that this game ends on, I guess it could be a last second field goal. It could be, I don't know, a number
Hail
of
Mary.
Hail Mary, true. I just think the odds lead in favor of it being a QB kneel on either side. So
I
if you're
agree.
willing to put a lot down and kind of handle that number, I think it's a lot.
I agree. It's a good one.
Chiefs first drive results. Um, I like this one because the Chiefs are just a more veteran team. They have a more veteran quarterback. They've been there more. Chiefs first drive result, any score at plus 100. So,
Mm.
whether the Chiefs get the ball first or not, their first drive, they go down and kick at least a field goal. You win the bet, and I just trust them in that spot. Doesn't mean I necessarily like them to win the game or anything else, but solid start. I like it. Plus 100.
Yeah, that's great. What does it say? Any point? I can't find that one. Here it is. Okay, gotcha. All right. Yeah, another one that I enjoyed a lot. Well, again, I was mixing a lot of Debo ones. Okay. So Rice anytime score, Debo under 50. Well, it's 57 and a half. That's plus 305. I think Rice is due for a touchdown here. He hasn't scored one in the last, let me
Mhm.
see. I had it right here. Yeah,
Scored
well,
against
last two
Miami.
games.
Yeah.
Yeah, he scored against Miami. Yeah. That was the game he went off on, you know. The
Yep.
other ones are low receiving yards. So
Yep.
it looks like he gets these in bunches. Well, when he first came on, like for the first half of the season, he was kind of under the radar, you know. I did pick him up pretty early in the season and rode him,
Oh,
which is good.
fantasy football.
Yeah.
I'm a zero fantasy football. Terrible.
You don't do any fantasy football?
No, I do. I
Oh,
do.
okay.
Actually, my so this is the first season where both my sons played in our family. Okay, so we put in pretty hefty. I think it was $75 entry fee, and my youngest son Harry, he won the regular season. He had never played before, and he won money for the regular season champ, and got to the final game and lost. So he was runner up, but he was dominant and he kind of loved it. And my older son, he was not as good, and so they my younger one, he would just razz him all the time and talk trash that he was. When you're the older brother, it's just it's not as cool when your younger brother's taking it to you in anything.
Yeah.
But I kind of loved it though. I only have one more left on my list. Do you
I
have
mean,
more?
I got a defensive one. And I was trying to go look at these stats, and oh, man, it's hard to say that these bets sometimes want to entice you, you know. And one that enticed me was Bosa and Jones mixed together at 3+ sacks. And then I went back and I'm like, oh man, they just really haven't had any sacks lately, you know. And just is it going to? I mean, but Kansas City gave up what 4 or 5 sacks last week, right? I mean, I think I was seeing that. I don't know.
So,
I
so
mean,
that
defense
one is
wise,
Bosa and Chris Jones to combine for 3+.
yeah. So
I
each
do.
one of them have to get two, and the other one has to get one, you know, or
Sure.
3-0.
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't. The only one that I saw that was interesting was Bosa to get a sack. I think it was minus 150, but you said he's been pretty quiet in this postseason. The Chiefs have a pretty solid offensive line. I don't though. I guess technically the only defensive one I'm doing is the Chiefs to pick up Purdy. But yeah,
Yeah. And you got most sacks, you know, 49ers plus 200, Chiefs are negative 135. Hmm. What if it
but
was a tie plus 400? Hmm.
let me ask you about so you were talking about game flow earlier. You think it's going to be pretty high scoring. Uh, I mean, you mentioned Rice. You like to have a big game on the Kansas City side. You like McCaffrey. I assume that's the guy on the San Francisco side. I mean, who plays better though as far as Purdy Mahomes? I mean, is this just a case where Purdy's trying to not necessarily out duel Mahomes and just literally what he says he's trying to do every game this year, which is get it into the playmakers' hands and let them do their thing? Or I mean, what do you expect from Purdy in this game? I mean, is he going to solidify himself as the guy in San Francisco? Because there's still questions. There literally is still questions about him being the future.
So what, he's got to win the Super Bowl? I don't know. I mean, I think he's done enough to put him as a starter. He went through a lull in the season and came right out of it. So I don't. I do believe that he will not go out there and try to be better than Mahomes, and will try to just get the ball in the right people's hands, and that may mean 3 touchdowns, or a rushing touchdown on a quarterback sneak. But to say that, I think he will certainly have enough stats, but one of them I saw was like quarterback throw for 350 yards, and I don't think either one of them will tell you the truth. I think it will be between the running backs, like you started this whole thing, is who's going to be better at the ground game that can open up the passing game.
Mm-hmm. Can we talk about Mahomes' legacy and where he's at right now, and his place in history in the game? Um, I mean, I know everyone saw kind of prior to the pregame shows last week with since he's come in the league, he's been in the AFC Championship game every year. So 6 years in a row, at least to the AFC Championship game. Now this is his fourth Super Bowl, 2-1 in previous Super Bowls, multiple MVPs, multiple Super Bowl MVPs. Where is he if the Chiefs win next Sunday and he wins his third Super Bowl? I mean, are we talking about already in the top 3, 4 quarterbacks of all time, or is he already there in your mind?
He's not. I mean, I think
He's not.
longevity is,
Okay.
not. You definitely have to put more than 6 trips to the AFC Championship in there. Then these guys have been throwing the ball for a long time, throwing touchdowns. I mean, I think he's got a ways to go before he solidifies himself as better than, So, okay, number one, and then number two, we're looking at into the Montanas,
Mhm.
Youngs, Aikmans, these guys that also won multiple Super Bowl MVPs and Super Bowls, and just yeah, I guess he's up in the top 5 for sure.
Okay. Because I think he's already there too. I think a little. I think he's. I probably have him a little bit higher in my book than you.
Yeah, definitely I'm lower. I just think people need to spend time and get over injuries and issues with coaches, and changing
Sure.
teams, and to really solidify yourself as a goat, like the goat that everyone can think about.
Sure.
Well, Tom Brady, go to another team and just win it, and
Yeah.
the MVPs like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. You're right. Longevity, consistency over time definitely matters. But holy fucking shit, man!
I know.
It is unbelievable what he has done since he's come in the league. Well, I mean, first year didn't play, started at the end of his rookie season, but starting from his second year to now, it's been incredible. I every time I think, well, this thing's gonna slow down and it's gonna end, and again, I was so impressed with him last week. Um, in fact, that might have been one of the more impressive games. Just didn't throw for a ton of yards. Only threw for a couple touchdowns, but it's just the way he controlled the game, and he just makes 2 or 3 plays where you're like, dude, no one else can do that.
Yeah.
I'm always ready to anoint Josh Allen or whoever, and I'm like, they're just not there. They're just not there.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like throwing the ball from falling down. I mean, that's he has talent for sure.
And that feels like the understatement of the century. He's got some talent. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
he's not a goat yet. Okay.
I didn't. I'm not. Listen, no one loves Tom Brady more than me, but I have to just put respect on Mahomes' name. Let's talk about
Yeah.
MVP a little bit more here. I love MVP discussion. So, uh, Mahomes is the favorite at plus 125. This is on DraftKings. Purdy at plus 225. McCaffrey at plus 475. Then we got a big gap. Kelsey at plus 1200. Debo at plus 2000. Pacheco at 28, which we already talked about. Rasheed Rice at plus 5,000. Kittle at 6,000. Brandon Ayuk at 6,000. And Bosa at 7,500. Um, I will tell you, I made one bet last Sunday night after some numbers started dropping. And I noticed that he's quite a bit lower on other books, 45 and 50 on other books. But the only bet I made prior to tonight was Brandon Ayuk to win Super Bowl MVP at 60 to 1. My theory is if the Niners win, I think I it's not as likely it's going to be 100% Purdy. I think it would. There's a decent chance it's one of those other four skill position guys: McCaffrey, Debo, Kittle, or Ayuk. I think Ayuk is really, really good and kind of underrated and not always properly used by in that offense. And in my mind, it's worth a shot at 60 to 1 if he's 8 catches, 162 yards, 2 touchdowns, one of them a game changing touchdown in the fourth quarter, something like that. So I like Ayuk as my long shot for MVP.
Because yeah, that's what I was going to ask. Like, what do these non-quarterback players have to put up just to win the
Insane,
MVP?
insane
Two
numbers, probably.
touchdowns, 10 plus. So
Right.
Kelsey, I think, has the best chance, and he just had 11 catches last game. It's just there. He's going to get the ball always, tight moments, short game moments, just um, all the time, and so he needs to get 10 plus catches, 100 plus yards, multiple touchdowns. I think it's doable for Kelsey at all. Absolutely.
Yeah. What else you got other than any other bets besides what we've talked about?
Okay.
Again,
Oh,
I have one more. That's it.
okay. Go ahead with yours.
Okay. Uh, you're like the color of the Gatorade guy, right?
Hmm.
You got deep into that last year. I remember.
Yeah.
I'm like national anthem guy. And I think I got into that with Chris Stapleton last
Yeah.
year. This year the national anthem is being sung by Reba McEntire. Okay. Um, the over under for the length of the anthem this year is at 86 seconds. Um, okay, so I did a little bit of digging yesterday in the Reba McEntire anthem career. She sang the national anthem at the 1997 World Series. She also had I forget where this was at, but she sung the anthem at in 2017 as well. Um, her past performances are shorter than 86 seconds. Um, so for some reason, she gets through hers quickly. Now, however, I think for the Super Bowl and maybe she countries it up a little bit more, and with that, it gets a little bit more elongated. I'm taking the over because this is the lowest posted national anthem time in over a decade. Um, and I just think statistically, it's likely that this thing goes over. So I'm taking Reba McEntire over 86 seconds. Minus 145 on FanDuel. Thank you.
And what's the under?
It's I didn't write
Yeah.
down
No.
the
Okay.
other. It's got to be probably plus 120 or something like that.
Hmm. Yeah. Okay. So back to the color. Color yellow green is 300. That's the one I like. Yellow green. It's
Isn't there
gonna be
always
yellow.
like there's always like an insider midweek like Adam Schefter or Ian Rappaport has like an insider. Well, they were putting the green or yellow powder in there, and they're something like that always comes
Yeah.
up.
Yeah. For sure.
Okay.
Last thing I was thinking. So I really like the anytime scorer, and McCaffrey and Rice together was plus 200. To me, I liked it.
McCaffrey and Rice.
Both score a
What's
touchdown.
and what's that's plus 200?
Yeah, plus 200.
Okay. I don't hate that at all. I don't hate that at all.
No.
And if you would parlay who you like to win, that probably goes up to like plus 5 or 6.
Yeah. Or that other one that I like, which is either whichever team you want to win within a margin of 1 to 6, or like you had um
It's
any
7
team or that
points.
spread. Yeah, 7 points. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
Game,
about all I got.
what's the game pick? Who do you like to win Super Bowl 58?
Straight up, I'm going San Francisco. I don't know about 2 points, but I mean that's just a gimme anyway. So San Francisco it is.
MVP?
Well, then it's gotta be Brock.
Okay. Okay.
You know what? Changing it. It's gonna be McCaffrey.
Okay. I
After
think
the year he's had, oof.
I feel like he's due.
Yeah, he
Um,
didn't get hurt at all this year. Like dude's a stellar.
so in the intro, I talked about not learning from history, and I know last year I had last year's Super Bowl pegged exactly. I said the better team is the Eagles, but I can't go against Mahomes, and the game kind of played out exactly in that fashion. Um, so I got that one right. I'm going to go against Mahomes in this one and take the Niners as well. I just think they're the better team. I think this is the time for Kyle Shanahan as well. He's been very close. I think he's due. I just think collectively they're just a much better team, and I will lay the two. And I also like McCaffrey to win the MVP, and Mahomes will be 2-2 and 2.
Yeah, and one other one I did stumble across was kickoff being a touchback plus 265. Opening
Okay.
kickoff
Okay. Yep.
in a
I like that.
dome,
Yep.
straight to the end zone.
Ooh, might be a good time to focus on punter props as well with no wins in the dome. Like, I have to look at those.
Yeah, I did
Okay.
stumble across one which was longest net punt versus um longest uh no first punt. Here it is. Gross yards of first punt or yards of the longest touchdown scored. So first punt, even if it's around 40 to 45, to think that there's going to be a longer touchdown than that, it's minus 200 for the yards of the first punt over the yards of the longest touchdown. But I don't know. I was stumbling across all those weird ones like that.
Oh yeah, there's some really fun ones out there. I mean, I feel like I was just scratching the surface.
Yeah.
All right, Richard Trojanowski, you're three top bets in the books. Appreciate you being on, sir.
Yeah, I'll get you my bets here soon.
Absolutely, I'll be your bookie for the week. Whole- that whole Texas thing.
Yeah.
All right. We'll get this up on YouTube and Spotify and Apple early in the week. Again, appreciate everyone listening and enjoy Super Bowl 58. Catch you next time.
Again, thank you so much.
Thank you.